The Pivot Legal Society is heading to court this morning to challenge the City of Vancouver over its street vending bylaw. Lawyer Doug King says low-income people need to sell their old possessions to survive. Most of them are on disability or pension and really need street vending to make the low incomes that they need. He plans to argue that the city's bylaw is too broad and violates a person's charter right to security of the person. He says many people don't sell stolen property. In fact, they turn to street vending so they don't have to commit crimes like prostitution or drug dealing. So every Sunday, dozens of people set up shop near Pigeon Park in the downtown east side. They buy and sell used goods like power tools, purses, clothing, and some of them make hundreds of dollars. The city even provides a local nonprofit $30,000 a year to run the street market, but now its organizers are going to Supreme Court right after this show to challenge a constitutional bylaw that prohibits street vending. 4 vendors were given $250 tickets. Roland Clarke is with me in studio this morning, along with Jacek Lorek. They are volunteer coordinators of the downtown East Side Street Market, and Wes Regan is executive director of the Hastings Crossing Business Improvement Association. So I welcome all of the programmers. Who can explain to me how it is that the city provides money for a program and then the same city fines people for being in violation? Roland Clarke, you want to explain this to me?
Oh, well, thanks a lot, Bill, and thanks for having us on this show so we can talk about our market and what we're trying to do for the low-income people of the downtown east side. Really, the Supreme Court challenge and the street market are two sides of the same coin, in that the people of the downtown east side, faced with really low welfare rates, about $600 a month to live on, and inadequate housing and so forth, they really struggle every month to make a living and to actually feed themselves. So many of them are forced to vend on the sidewalk used goods or even goods that they're given from the nonprofits around the neighborhood. They sell this and then they supplement their rent at SROs that have been gentrified and then buy food for themselves. And the street market was started actually because the police were giving out vending tickets to these people selling on the sidewalk. And so in June of 2010, we started the street market as an area that could be free of these vending tickets and allow the people of the downtown east side to really have their own communal garage sale because most of the people that live in SROs don't have their own backyards.
You make it sound very benign. One of your critics writes to me and says there's nothing but illegal activity going on at this market, stolen goods, open drug dealing, etc. And everyone down there knows this. Goes on to say, I am a business owner in Strathcona. I had to get a criminal record check just to open a legal business there, and an additional cost to me for my business license and 3-week stall to get my business license. This is not a requirement of vendors at this pretense of a market. In fact, there are no requirements whatsoever.
Well, to speak to that specifically, Bill, I'm aware of who that person is, and they're a very vocal critic of the market, and we're used to the fact that we have critics. We're also used to the fact that there is a large degree of prejudice towards people and how they behave in the downtown east side. And we view the market as a leg up, a way that the people in the downtown east side can become entrepreneurs and make their own money and actually not have to wait all day in food lines. As for, the charges of drug dealing and illegal goods, well, on an average day in the 10 blocks of the downtown east side, do you think that no drugs are sold anywhere? But yet somehow between the hours of 11 and 4 on Sunday, any drug dealing is our fault in Pigeon Park, which I find the charge a little bit ridiculous.
But Mr. Lorek, what about the allegation that there's a tremendous amount of stolen property being fenced at the market?
Well, I don't think there's more than any other markets. Any other market will attract people with stuff to sell. And it's just people's perceptions what's in the market. If somebody comes with already mindset that they don't like it, they will not like it. But because a lot of people coming to the market, especially tourists coming from other countries, and they love it. They really enjoy it, and because it reminds them the same markets they have in Europe and South America, for example.
So you're telling me this has become a tourist attraction?
More and more, yes. We have very many people coming doing our market hours from cruise ships, for example, and they really like it. Very often they come to us and ask about the market, what it is, and when we explain them exactly the rules and how it's run and who is it for, they're very excited because there's the only market we know about that serve the very poor people, those that actually don't have money to buy permits and go to the markets when you have to pay $40, $50 or more dollars to be at those markets.
So what are the rules?
The rules are very simple, actually. You have to be neighborly. You have to respect other vendors and businesses around, all the neighbors. You don't have to pay to be there, but you have to be from downtown east side.
Yeah, and so the requirement is that you have to be a resident of the downtown east side, because it is for the poor people of the downtown east side. And we have standard rules about contraband, stolen goods, no selling of weapons, no selling of drugs. And then we have basic behavioral rules for the vendors, that they have to only take the space that they need and they have to get along with the other vendors. And we have actually kicked a few vendors out that have violated our rules.
Is there a police presence?
There, every weekend the police come through and we try and have a positive interaction with them. We work with them anytime that they identify items that they say are stolen. And we do as much as we can to try and follow best practices to identify what may be stolen. If we find items that look too new or have price tags, even though many people in the downtown east side are actually given donations by nonprofits like Wish and the Women's Center that have price tags, we still try and dissuade people from selling those items with price tags on, because we know that it looks bad and those items may be perceived as stolen.
Wes Regan, what's your position here? You're the executive director of the Hastings Crossing Business Improvement Association. Does this in any way improve business or the doing of business in the downtown east side or Hastings?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on the show here, Bill. But broadly speaking, there's more than just the brick and mortar businesses that work in the local economy in the downtown east side, and I think that to an extent we have to be sensitive to the fact that the informal economy plays a very important role for the roughly 13,000 low-income residents that are there. So just to back up though, the street market is part of an evolution, I think, and the city and the businesses in the area have wanted to see the street disorder lessened along Hastings, and that's where this sort of began, is the vending that was in front of the shops that was deterring people from coming down and shopping in those businesses. The streets were dirty, they were littered with street debris, and so the market is a step towards further legitimizing and further building capacity for street vending in the downtown east side, finding a new permanent location that's acceptable to businesses and residents and the street market and the vendors.
Where might that be?
Well, the city is actively working right now with us to try and find one of those locations. There's been a couple of lots identified that may or may not be appropriate for this, and that process has been underway for several months now. The local area plan was just approved. There's some amendments that are being approved today. The street market is specifically mentioned in that plan within the context of the local economy. So the city, for a long time, has been trying to find a way to reconcile the needs of the low-income residents wanting to be entrepreneurial, understanding that the elephant in the room is obviously the stolen goods component and the impact that the businesses and BIAs are concerned about there. And thirdly, the street disorder. So those three things together, I think, are the cocktail that we're trying to move forward from.
We'll come back and invite your participation, perhaps your own experience. Have you ever gone to that street market? Roland Clarke, Jacek Lorek, and Wes Regan are my guests, and I welcome your participation. 604-280-9898, toll free 1-877. Talking about the Sunday market on Carroll Street, we have proponents of the market in studio with me this morning. We are also opening the phones to get your reaction and your response to it. Roland Clarke and Jacek Lorek are volunteer coordinators of the downtown East Side Street Market. Wes Regan is executive director of the Hastings Crossing Business Improvement Association. And I welcome your calls, your thoughts, perhaps your concerns. Roland Clarke and Jacek Lorek are both volunteers with the downtown East Side Street Market. Wes Regan is executive director of the Hastings Crossing Business Improvement Association, and you said something during the break that the businesses in the area are trying to be proactive.
Yeah. Well,
so you're supportive of the market?
Well, we're supportive of of street vending becoming more legitimate, the street market building capacity, these issues around theft or around street disorder being addressed, and the city and the businesses, most of the businesses, not all of them, but the city and the businesses feel that a proactive approach is better than a reactive approach at this point. A reactive approach is what we've seen for years and years. That's resulted in ticketing. That hasn't dealt with any of the situation. So now a proactive process where we help to find a location, we help to build capacity, and we help to deal with the issues and mitigate those things that we're concerned about is where we want to go.
Market and every open air market copes with the same issue, and you do it with security, and you do it by registering the vendors, and with more resources we can definitely do that. I'll just finish by saying that the social benefit is enormous. We have 200 vendors on a good Sunday, and we estimate that there are hundreds of vendors that come periodically and benefit from the market. The market does more than $10,000 worth of commerce on a Sunday, meaning $500 million of benefit to the local people of the downtown east side for pennies on the dollar per customer.
We break for the news to the top of the hour, and then
In order to meet BC's unique energy needs beyond traditional natural gas and electricity, Fortis BC is putting BC to work. By actively recruiting engineers and technologists and working with colleges, universities, and trade organizations, Fortis BC ensures British Columbians have the energy they need, such as becoming the first North American utility to provide